We are talking today with Melissa Cox, Councilor at Large for the City of Gloucester. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thanks. We have a lot of questions for you about what it's like to be a city councilor in Gloucester during the pandemic. But first, you had mentioned that you have some updates with this bill that the governor has recently signed that is a municipal relief package. There's a big chunk of there.
Yeah, it finally gives the local governments, city council, the mayor. For cities, it's more the mayor that has the power. We're just legislative. But towns, the Board of Selectmen now have the power to adjust their due dates for municipal bills, excise, water, sewer, property, personal property, all that stuff. And I certainly hope that the mayor exercises that right this week, because as you know, we sent out property bills recently, and water and sewer were due at the end of last month. And there's so many people that are impacted. I mean, every person in the world is impacted at this point with COVID. And, we're trying to make that impact less. So I hope she exercises that right to delay due dates and waive interest and late fees. So, but that is definitely her decision, and we support her in that decision. As city council, I know a lot of us have talked about what our rights are, and I'm really grateful that the governor has taken this step to sign this bill to allow us to direct our own future, knowing our citizens better than anybody else. So I do appreciate the hard work that the state reps and everybody put into passing this.
So do you have a meeting due soon with the other city councilors and the mayor to discuss this?
So this is a committee week. We have O&A, Ordinance and Administration, on Monday, which this evening, and Wednesday is Planning and Development, and Friday is Budget and Finance. We're moving forward with our regular agenda. The previous round of meetings were essential business only, because we were still getting used to the new normal and trying to figure out what we could and couldn't do. I'm a huge advocate of the public interaction. So I don't want to do things that normally in a normal course of business would bring people to City Hall. Special public hearings, stuff like that, especially in regards to development. I think those are huge things that we need the public's input, and in this new format, it's just not feasible. We don't get that human interaction that we should be getting, that emotion and just everything that comes with it, with reading statements and having that one-on-one interaction. So I'm not a big fan of moving forward in this current setup for those kind of hearings. And this bill that the governor just passed is definitely going to give us the power to suspend the required amount of days for special city council permits and everything else. So I'm hoping that we can delay all of those things until we have that in-person interaction again.
Great. And what are you discussing with the other city councilors? Like, what are the big issues on your mind, sort of generally as citizens and as city councilors running the city?
I mean, safety and public health is super important. At this point, I think it's just easier for people to stay put and try to lessen their interaction outside of their houses, their safety zone, I guess. It's not possible for everybody to have that luxury and just be able to stay home and order food and have it delivered, and prescriptions and stuff like that. And I think for myself, even getting out for walks has been a godsend for me, because as you all know, I'm a bit of an extrovert, and I don't like being cooped up at home. My husband is perfectly happy, but I'm driving him nuts. I actually finished a knitting project that I had on my needles for probably 5 years, and I finished it in 4 days. So there's a positive.
So how do you feel the city is responding to the stay-at-home advisory and the declaration of emergency?
the best we can. I think the mayor is doing a great job. I wish the message was more consistent in regards to, I mean, just something as simple as the number of cases. You know, one day on the updates, there is a number of cases, and then the next 2 days, it's not there. And I get calls from people saying, why isn't it there? What happened? You know, and then it leads to speculation and panic. And I just think consistency is the key here, and just always having it. And it's one simple line, and it seems so silly that, you know, 5 words can mean so much to somebody, but when it's not there, people panic. And I think that's something that we have the power to avoid. So,
just for clarification, where do we find these updates?
So the administration releases the updates on a daily basis to us. Sometimes, especially over the weekend, obviously people need to disconnect from the computers and phones and everything. But usually Monday through Friday, we get a weekly update. The city council gets a weekly update, and then it's released onto the website. The city website, yeah. So I think that's a good source. The city website has been updated. James Pope is a godsend for the city as far as IT goes. He has managed to keep us up and running on Zoom and the meetings, and we just got a notice today for electronic signatures where we can do it. There's going to be some things where we have to have the regular signatures, but it's one more step to keeping us social distancing, which is so important right now. And the laws and everything are ever changing. You know, a week ago, we were told that masks were not necessary. And now they're saying, you know, why not? So, but, and we have so many awesome people in the community that are making masks, and, you know, that N95 masks should be going to the first responders and the public service. It's so important that there's so many good people in the neighborhoods that are just providing, which is great.
So Melissa, I was going to ask, how do you feel about the general public's response to being asked to stay home? Are you happy with that?
I think for the most part, yes. You know, I had to push for playgrounds to be closed because people weren't abiding by the stay-at-home advisory. I mean, I know it's not a mandatory thing. Being an extrovert, I'm not in favor of a mandatory personally, but I think it's something that is going to need to happen, just like what Italy did. They did a complete shutdown, and the curve is flattened a lot. As you guys know, I have family in Italy recently, and, you know, my cousin served over there, so I had been over there several times over the last 3 years, and I just fell in love with the country, and what they're doing by having the mandatory stay at home has helped them over the last week. I think over the next 2 weeks, we're going to see a spike in cases because we are getting better testing capability. So I don't want people to panic for that, but at the same time, I think we need to all do our part and take it really seriously and do our best to stay inside while still going outside for some exercise. You know, my best friend Jess, she has got a dog, and she has to take it out for walks, otherwise the dog's going to destroy her house. So, as you well know, it's super important to get out and get some exercise. But I think when my husband and I went for a walk yesterday, we managed to do it. We'd pop into driveways while people walked by, and, you know, it was easy. And it was great for our mental health. And then about an hour after we got back from our walk, the sun came out, which was, you know, ironic. So as far as the playgrounds go, I still see people playing basketball. You know, the police have better things to do than monitor the basketball courts. So while I think 90% of the city is doing a great job, there is 10% that is just frustrating, you know. I had somebody tell me that if they wanted the playgrounds and stuff closed, they should put signs up. Well, I mean, that's kind of hard too. We have to we have to stay connected. We have to watch the news. We need to get the paper. I wish the paper would waive the log-on fee so people can get it electronically. I wish Comcast would make more movies available that didn't cost $20. Comcast has got to be making a killing on all the new subscribers, with people having to homeschool their kids and log into stuff. There's so much that our community could be doing more, but it takes a lot higher up on the food chain to get those things to happen. So
those are good points. Melissa, there was an interesting an article in the Gloucester Times last week about bridge closures, and there's been some activity on Facebook about gated communities. Do you want to comment on that?
I think it's a horrible idea. On the island itself, we have all the grocery stores. Mainland Gloucester, for lack of a better word, is cut off from those services, and it's putting our first responders in more harm's way, more contact. Do what Rockport did. Close the beaches and the public areas to residents only. We don't need a monitor at the gate, or at the bridge. I did hear a rumor yesterday about a neighborhood closing a gate, a private residential area. And like I said, my husband and I went for a walk, and we walked by that area, not knowing about the story. I did not see anything abnormal about the area. We walked in the area, and we weren't asked to leave. We weren't stopped. So I don't know how much that is internet hype or actual reality. There's public land at the end of that neighborhood for public access. So I go down there a lot with my photography and take pictures. So it's a public access road, private road with public access. So I don't know how much it is rumor. I don't know how much it is security flexing. I don't know. But that's definitely one of the topics that I want to discuss with the administration today.
I think it's fear, as worse, people will become more fearful, and these sorts of emotional responses are going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but you can see that all over the post, fear.
Well, I posted some information about gloves and masks this morning on Facebook, and somebody came out and said, I'm going to judge anybody that isn't wearing a mask because they're putting my family in harm. Well, they might have respiratory problems already, so they're not able to wear a mask. I find it very confining to wear a mask. I have a hard time with it, and I have no health problems. But people just need to slow down a little bit on their judgments and their reactions. Maybe that person is of compromised health, can't wear a mask, but is the only person they have to go and get their prescriptions or their groceries. So we just need to take a minute and slow down and worry about ourselves, and not judge people so quickly.
So Melissa, I want to ask something about just looking ahead a little bit. And we were expecting this peak period to happen anywhere between April 10th to 20th. Heather and I have spoken with a lot of local physicians. And everything is sort of in shutdown mode, for lack of a better term, through May 4th. Now, we're assuming this is going to be extended again, and my assumption is when this happens, that would sort of be the end of the school year, which just takes us into late June, through Fiesta, 4th of July. Do you have any sort of vibe on how that
My birthday?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. We just, it's so hard to tell. We are not out to ruin anybody's events or annual, fiesta, stuff like that. But we have to be smart. We can't reinvite this pandemic back into our house. We need to be proactive about stopping it, and we need to listen to the professionals. I as much as I want to walk in the parade and carry the ore that I've carried for the last 8 or 9 years, I'm not willing to have a festival for the sake of having a festival. I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to catch up when this is over. And we just need to focus on that. And we want to have everybody that was there last year there this year. So the only way to do that is to keep everybody safe. And, you know, like I've said 5 times already, I am going nuts being cooped up at home. I don't like it, but it's the best thing for all of us.
And lastly, so do you have a message here for your constituents, or just the citizens in general? We're kind of looking for some sort of silver lining, or, you know, some sort of positive spin on how we can just go about and try to adjust to this new normal.
The earth is rebounding because we're staying at home. You know, the pollution, this is the first time that the space station has been able to see the wall of China because of pollution. I mean, it's phenomenal what the earth is rebounding with, you know, not having us screw everything up. Be smart. If you're going to wear masks, if you're going to wear gloves, just be smart about it. Nobody wants your dirty trash on the sidewalks and shopping carts. Please clean up after yourself. Do things for your mental health. Call a friend, you know, take care of yourself physically, mentally. Do some exercise at home if you're able to, but try to stay home as much as you possibly can. Eat healthy. I know it's hard. Like my exercise was going back and forth to the fridge for a couple days in the beginning, and I was like, oh my God, this has got to stop. So trust in the government as much as possible, preferably local government. You know, we're trying to do the best for you. Stay in touch with us. You know, coming from an elected person, I'm still here for you, to serve you. So my phone number is publicly out there. My email address is out there. You know, feel free to reach out to me if you have questions. Just because you don't see me in public as much doesn't mean that I'm not here for you. So if you have concerns or needs, please, you know, reach out.
Cool. Thanks, Melissa. Well, let's stay in touch for sure. And,
oh yeah, definitely.
Be well, and
thank you.
And we'll be in touch soon.
Yeah, I know everybody's missing out on things. I'm supposed to be flying back from Paris today. So I was supposed to have spent the last 10 days in Paris, and thank God my husband's got a nice sense of humor and created pictures of us in Paris every day the last 10 days. So, you know, everybody is missing out on something. So just keep the faith.
Best to you and your family in Italy also.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Yeah.
Bye, Melissa.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.